All right, today we are digging into Alexander Payne's The Holdovers, a film that just feels special, It's like a time capsule from the 1970s that somehow became an instant classic right now. At its heart, it's about a really simple question. What happens when you take three very lonely, very different people and just stick them together for Christmas? Let's dive in.
Oh, Captain, my captain, right? Of course, you know that line. It instantly brings to mind Dead Poets Society, that whole vibe of a New England boarding school. And that's exactly where we need to start, because The Holdovers is kind of like its long-lost cousin, but, a way more cynical, wonderfully bitter cousin.
So you've got two teachers. In one corner, there's John Keating. The guy's all about inspiration, seize the day, right? Then, in the other corner, you have Paul Hunham. And this guy, he's a total curmudgeon, an authoritarian who seems to genuinely loathe his students. So you have the same ivy-covered walls, but a totally different kind of teacher. And that, right there, is what gives The Holdovers its unique, sharp-edged soul.
Okay, so let's set the scene. Picture this. It's December 1970. Snow's on the ground at the very prestigious, very fictional Barton Academy. Everyone's heading home for Christmas break. Well, almost everyone, because there's this group of students they call the Holdovers. And trust me, it's not a title you want. Now, I know what you're thinking. Christmas, boarding school, sounds like a feel-good holiday flick, right? Wrong. Absolutely not. Don't let the decorations fool you. This movie is a deep, deep dive into loneliness, abandonment, that feeling of being completely alone when everyone else is supposed to be happy. It's about that unique kind of sadness that only seems to hit harder during the holidays.
So the whole story really boils down to three people, an unlikely trio for sure. They're thrown together purely by chance, and each one of them is fighting their own quiet battle.
First up, there's Paul Hunham. He's the history teacher nobody can stand, a guy just drowning in his own past mistakes. Then you've got Angus Tully, super smart kid but a real handful, who gets ditched by his own mum for Christmas. Ouch. And rounding out our trio is Mary Lamb. She's the head chef at the school, and she's carrying this immense quiet grief over losing her son in Vietnam. So yeah, three totally different worlds colliding in one very empty, very cold school.
Okay, let's get to the heart of it. The real engine of this movie. The part that's both laugh-out-loud funny and will just break your heart is the dynamic between the curmudgeon and the kid. The constant sparring between Paul Hunham and Angus Tully.
And the dialogue? Oh man, it is razor sharp. Paul Giamatti as Hunham is just spitting these incredible highbrow insults. It's like he has a PhD in put-downs. You can just feel how much he despises teaching these entitled students.
Seriously, he does not pull any punches. And this constant clashing, this animosity, that's what drives all the comedy in the beginning. It's this brilliant volley of insults between a kid who's been let down by the world and a man who has pretty much given up on himself.
So what's with the number one? Well, get this. That is the number of professional acting gigs Dominic Sessa, the kid who plays Angus, had before this movie. 1. As in, this was his very first role ever. It's insane.
And how they found him is an amazing story in itself. He was actually a student at one of the schools where they were filming. The casting director had seen actor after actor and was getting nowhere, so she just started looking at the local school drama clubs. His teacher pushed him to try out. And get this, the only reason he was even doing theater was because he broke his leg and couldn't play hockey anymore. Talk about a lucky break, right? It just goes to show you, sometimes real talent is hiding in plain sight.
So, that's the big question, isn't it? You have these two people who absolutely despise each other. How on earth do you get from that to something real? How do they build that bridge? Well, the film lays it out beautifully. It doesn't happen overnight. It starts with just pure, unadulterated hate. But then, the other kids leave, and it's just the two of them. And in that quiet, they start to see that they're both just lonely. That kicks off this shaky, reluctant team-up. They start to see bits of themselves in each other. And from there, through everything they go through together, it grows into this really profound respect, an actual fierce loyalty. It's just perfect.
But here's the thing. This incredible bond between Paul and Angus, it doesn't just happen on its own. While those two are making a lot of noise with their misery, the real anchor of the film, the emotional core, is someone else entirely. And she's the quietest one of all.
I'm talking, of course, about Mary Lamb, played by Divine Joy Randolph in a performance that, just casually won her an Oscar. As Paul and Angus are busy trading insults, Mary is the one who brings this incredible grace and heart to the whole thing.
And this line, wow, it just guts you. Paul has this rare moment where he opens up, admits he feels like a failure, and Mary just looks at him and says this with so much empathy. It's just a masterclass in saying so much with so little. Her performance is just filled with these powerful, quiet moments.
It's such a deep performance because you can feel everything she's holding back. Her grief, her anger, it's all simmering right there. I mean, think about it. She's serving food to these privileged kids whose biggest problem is being stuck at school, while her own son was sent to Vietnam and never came back. But she doesn't have these huge blow-ups. Instead, she lets you feel her pain, which is way more powerful. In the end, she's the grown-up in the room, the one who helps these two emotionally stunted guys finally take a hard look at themselves.
So, what's the secret sauce here? How does a movie that's so quiet and character-driven hit you so hard emotionally? It's not about car chases or big shocking reveals, that's for sure.
There's actually a term for it, cinematic frisson. It's basically that feeling when you get goosebumps during a movie. Not because of a jump scare, but because of a moment that feels so incredibly real and human. It's the magic of the small stuff, those little authentic moments that just hit you right in the heart.
And that's what this whole film is built on. It's not about grand gestures, it's about the small things. A conversation at a diner, a totally unexpected act of kindness, that look between two people where you just know they get it. These are the tiny building blocks that create a real family out of three lonely strangers. It's why their connection feels so earned by the end.
And I think that's really the big takeaway here. The movie isn't saying people can completely reinvent themselves, it's saying something much more profound, I think. It suggests that just a little bit of understanding, a little human connection, it might not fix everything, but it can completely change how we get through the hard times.
Which brings us full circle right back to Dead Poets Society. Because by the end, Paul Hunham, the grumpy, bitter teacher, he actually transforms. He becomes the mentor that Angus so desperately needed. He even puts his own future on the line for the kid. Angus, at long last, gets his captain.
So I'll just leave you with this to think about. In a world that can feel pretty isolating, The Holdovers asks a really powerful question. What's the real value in just staying? In choosing to sit with someone through their own personal winter? What kind of power is there in that simple, quiet act of not leaving?